You open your banking app at 11 p.m. Balance, 4 figures. Debt, 5. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a quiet, humiliating thought forms. I should have more by now. You're not lazy. You're not bad with money. You went to school. You got the job. You did the responsible things. And yet, the math refuses to cooperate. Here's the uncomfortable truth nobody says out loud. You're not poor. You're early. And almost nobody tells you what early actually looks like from the inside, because it looks exactly like failure. This matters right now more than it ever has. Wages have crawled up while asset prices sprinted. Homes, stocks, even childcare, priced for a version of your income that stopped existing years ago. Meanwhile, social media hands you a highlight reel of 30-year-olds who made it, conveniently skipping the part where most wealth is inherited, timed, or invisible debt in a nicer outfit. So let's actually look at how this works, not the motivational version, the mechanical one. Building wealth isn't a straight line, it's a curve, and for most of its length, that curve looks flat, or worse, negative. Economists call it the J-curve of net worth. You spend your 20s and often your 30s acquiring things that cost money before they make money: degrees, licenses, skills, tools, sometimes children. Your net worth doesn't just grow slowly during this phase. It often goes backward. First, student debt, a car loan. First apartment furniture bought on a card you swore you'd pay off next month. This is the part nobody frames correctly. You're told wealth building starts when you begin saving. In reality, it starts the moment you begin investing in your own future earning capacity, even while your bank balance says otherwise. The Federal Reserve's own data on U.S. household net worth shows the median for people under 35 sitting far below other age groups. Not because younger people are reckless, but because they're structurally positioned at the start of the curve, not the top of it. Then, somewhere around your mid-30s to 40s, if the inputs were right, the curve bends. Compounding starts doing something you can't feel happening. A retirement account that looked pathetic for a decade suddenly doubles in 5 years. Not because you added more, but because growth compounds on growth. Money made money while you were asleep, arguing with your landlord, or forgetting the account existed. This is where the story gets darker, though. Because the same mechanism that quietly builds wealth for people who start early and stay invested punishes people who start late or panic sell during downturns just as quietly. Compounding doesn't care about your feelings. It only cares about time in the system. Miss 10 years, and you don't just miss 10 years of contributions. You miss the exponential decade, the one where the curve actually bends upward. That's the part almost never explained on the finance influencer stage. Now here's the uncomfortable math, the one that actually explains why you feel behind. A 25-year-old investing $200 a month at an average 7% return ends up around the same final number as a 35-year-old investing double that amount. Not because the older investor tried less, because they lost the first 10 years of compounding, and no amount of extra monthly cash fully closes that gap. Time, not effort, is the dominant variable. And time is the one resource marketing can't sell you back. This is where hype and reality split completely. The hype, side hustles, crypto flips, one stock that changes everything, a course promising financial freedom in 90 days. The reality, the overwhelming majority of self-made wealth in ordinary households comes from unglamorous, repeated, boring behavior sustained over 15 to 25 years, consistent contributions, index funds nobody talks about at parties. Employer retirement matches quietly stacking up in the background like insulation you don't notice until winter. There's a quiet irony here worth sitting with. The financial industry profits more from your anxiety than your patience. Anxious people click more ads, buy more courses, chase more trades, pay more fees. Patient people who just automate a contribution and log off are, financially speaking, terrible customers. So the algorithm doesn't show you the boring version. It shows you the fast one, because fast keeps you watching. Zoom out further, and the stakes get heavier. Wealth in most developed economies is dramatically concentrated at the top, not because the bottom 90% refuse to try, but because ownership of appreciating assets, real estate, equities, business equity, has been consolidating for decades. If you don't own assets, you don't participate in the growth those assets generate. You just watch the price of admission rise every year you're not in. This is the real risk, hiding underneath the "you're just early" comfort. Being early only works if you eventually get in. If housing costs and stagnant wages keep pushing the entry point further away, early quietly turns into locked out for an entire generation. The wealth-building phase assumes a door that eventually opens. For a growing number of people, that door is being redesigned to stay half shut. So the honest version of this story isn't purely reassuring. Yes, if you're in your 20s or 30s with negative or minimal net worth, you are very likely early in a process that mathematically rewards patience and participation. The data on wealth accumulation by age supports that, but the system is also shifting the finish line for some people faster than their starting line is moving. Being early only helps if the race hasn't been quietly redesigned while you were running it, which leaves an uncomfortable question, one worth sitting with, instead of rushing past. If wealth building really is just a phase, a curve you eventually bend if you stay in long enough, then what happens to the people for whom the curve keeps getting pushed further away? Are they early? Or is early just the comforting word we use right before we find out the truth?